and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us here in Paddock Club. It's wonderful to have you here.
Good afternoon, nice headband.
Do you like it? Trying something new.
Is it Party or?
I think it's Revolution.
Okay.
It's the Suns, let's say it's the Suns. Now, thank you so much for joining us here, Christian. It's a little bit hot though here in Singapore, isn't it? How are you coping with this heat?
Well, we've had a bit of a heat wave in the UK last weekend, but it's nothing like this. So, the heat here, particularly for the drivers, it's the humidity is really tough for them. So, taking lots of fluids is really important.
Yeah.
They lose so much during the race. They can lose sort of 2 kilos, in the Grand Prix. So, just keeping them hydrated is the most important thing.
Now, talking about the setup of the car, obviously when we go to places like Mexico where we're racing at high altitude, we have to change the setup to suit those conditions. What happens when we're somewhere like Singapore where it is so hot? How do we have to change the setup of the car then?
Well, again, because it's a street track, it's a matter of dialing the car in to the asphalt, to the conditions, the tyres are everything. So, and of course on a street track like this, you tend to run the maximum amount of downforce that you have. So we've got Monaco levels of downforce here. So it's going to be interesting, and of course the track, because it's not a permanent track, it's very dusty to start with, and we'll just get faster and faster and faster as the weekend progresses.
So we've got a new track layout here in Singapore, and this isn't the first time that the track's been sort of adapted to suit racing conditions. How does that affect our strategy, and how does that affect practice today? Because this is technically the first time the cars have raced on this new layout.
Well, I think we do an awful lot of simulation. We rely on our partners, for that. The amount of simulation that we can now do, thanks to our friends at Oracle, we're able to, I think, triple the amount of simulations we're able to run. And the drivers have tested the circuit, the new layout of circuit last week in the virtual world on our simulator. So, we come with an awful lot of data, and then for the first time the car runs, that data is immediately sort of sent back to the UK and again optimized in the virtual world in the simulator with our test driver, which will be Sebastian Boemi this weekend.
Fantastic. So essentially they've already driven this, just it's the first time physically this weekend. Now, Singapore Grand Prix is the home of the night race. It's where it originated, I believe. How do the drivers prepare for racing at nighttime conditions, or because the floodlights are so bright, does it not really change things too much?
Well, they tend to stay on European time, so if you're in the lobby of the hotel at 5 o'clock in the morning, you see drivers trying to get some food or whatever, so they all stay, the whole team actually stays on European time zone.
We tried.
Because everything is offset. So they arrive pretty late. They arrived on Wednesday and then straight into it.
Now, comparing the track here this weekend, as you said, a street circuit, compared to somewhere like Monza last week, traditional circuit, what kind of differences would you expect to see, and how do the drivers prepare for these differences?
Well, different cars suit different circuits, and the one thing that's been consistent with our car is that it's been quick across lots of different types of circuit. Now, arguably, our competitors have been closer at street tracks, so we're expecting Mercedes, potentially Ferrari, McLaren, even Alonso in the Aston to be quick here this weekend. So I think this represents one of the biggest challenges for the season for us in terms of trying to win this race.
So perhaps that might be what we're looking out for in practice today, looking out on those timesheets. Do you think there's going to be any surprises coming up during practice today?
Yeah, for sure. There's always something. So for us, it's just important this first session just to get into the circuit, make sure the setup's working, learn the new part of the circuit, see what differences that makes. But and then it's tonight when the temperature cools off or the sun disappears, then it becomes more relevant to qualifying in the Grand Prix.
Now, something I need to mention: 15 consecutive wins as a team, which I think deserves a round of applause in itself. What do you think it is about this season that's so special for us? What is working so well, and why are we so dominant?
Well, I think it's every part of the team doing their job, and I think every aspect of the team is delivering, is performing, and I think that's not just here, it's back in the UK, back in the factory. We have 22 different departments, and each one of those departments is having to do their part, and I think that it's a combination of everybody doing their bit that has allowed us to achieve these results.
Now, we've heard that some rumours that some of the teams are sort of looking at our dominance and potentially giving up a little bit now on this season. Do you think there's any truth in that, or is that just hearsay?
I don't think anybody gives up on a race, and I think that everybody's focus now turns to next year's car, so including ours, because we've got 6 months or less than 6 months before we're racing again, and or at least testing again. So we have to design and manufacture that car in those 6 months. So I think all the teams now shift focus and manufacturing towards next year.
Okay. Now the final thing that I want to mention is our very own Max Verstappen, on track for his 3rd World Championship this year, hopefully if all goes well, and has just broken another record, 10 consecutive race wins. The last driver to break that record was Sebastian Vettel with 9. Could we start coining something called the Christian Horner effect, perhaps?
I wish. I mean, first of all, to achieve it with Seb was very special, and then to match it and then beat it with Max was, was incredible. And 10 victories in succession is insane, particularly when you think Hamilton, Alonso, the standard of opponents, Ferrari, Mercedes, they're big teams that we're up against, and to have won 10 in a row is truly, truly impressive.
Fantastic. Well, I think it's a lot to say for yourself and a lot to say for the team as well. But Christian, I know you're so busy, so thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck to everyone with practice today, and we'll be watching up here. Wish you luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.